would like to request Tibetan activist Mr Jigme Ugyen to sing.
Long show, permission long show. Long show, permission long show.
롱쇼.
삼박해오기도 롱랑이도 같이 걸다. 인지가 실잖아. This is not a protest. This is not a protest. This is an uprising of Tibetans across the world fighting for justice and truth. This is not a protest. This is the voice of truth. His Holiness the Dalai Lama of Tibet. He took years in 3 months. 88 years. For 88 years, he has shown the world about peace, harmony, and compassion. For almost 88 years, he has preached and practiced compassion. And today, because of a 20-second edited clip, they are judging him. Some people even want to cancel him. But I tell them, it's useless pointing a torch or a flashlight at the sun. His Holiness is our big beacon of truth. I want to talk a couple of things through the media. I want to talk about the event in Dharamsala. And then I want to talk about these people back here. A lot of people across the world just went out and tweeted something or reposted something and went back to doing their own things, going back to their own life. They don't understand the impact they have made. They don't understand what it does to our people, our history, our culture, our identity. What it does to a marginalized group of people who's fighting an oppressed government, who's fighting for their identity, for their language, for their culture. But it was just a tweet or a repost. So this is not a protest. This is an uprising to tell this world that we have our cultures, we have a history. If you do not understand it, do not force your culture on us. This is not a protest. It is an uprising for truth. It is an uprising for the people in Tibet who've been suffering for 64 years and nobody talked about it. It is an uprising for every Tibetan on this planet who believes and who knows and who understands His Holiness the Dalai Lama. We tell the world, nobody knows the Dalai Lama like us. But where was the media? Did they come talk to us? Did they come and clarify? Did they ask for our sources? They ran with clickbait titles. They ran with sensationalized footage so that they could get a couple of ratings. Life goes on for them. That's why this is not a protest. This is an uprising. It is an uprising to let the world know that we are not just victims, but we are survivors. They do not understand the Tibetan resilience. They do not understand our love, our loyalty, and our faith for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The world saw that in 1959, when these people came for His Holiness, we stood our ground. Today, we will once again show them that if they come for His Holiness, they will have to go through each and every one of us. And this is not a protest. This is a freaking uprising. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, this humanity should be lucky. Human beings in this planet, in this world, should be lucky that you are still, that we are all sharing the same era as such a noble leader. A leader that needs no justification. A leader that does not need to apologize, but he apologized because he knew that he hurt some people. He didn't apologize for the action because it was pure, it was warm, it was filled with love. A lot of us saw the clip of the little Indian boy getting blessing from His Holiness. All of us believe that this boy was lucky. All of us believe that this boy had done good in his previous life, that he was receiving such blessing. But that's not how the world saw it. Because how people project is what they have seen. And we, as Tibetans, we know there is sexual abuse in religious institutes. There is sexual abuse and child abuse by powerful people. But His Holiness the Dalai Lama interaction with this child, a grandfatherly love, a cultural jovial prank, should not be compared to that. That's why when people talk about our culture, when people talk about our history, they erase everything that's us. And for 64 years, we've been telling the world that we are here, that we are 168 of our brethren, our siblings in Tibet, have self-immolated for Tibet's freedom. We are telling the world that 1 million of our children are being forced out of their homes and put into re-education camps. We have been telling the world, but they decide to write and talk about what they think our history should be, what they think that our narrative should be. That's why this is a uprising to tell the world that the Tibetans are not victims. We are survivors, and we will tell the world what the truth is. I can sit here and go for hours about what His Holiness has done for humanity. We could all count on it, but these people there don't seem to realize it. They don't seem to remember. They don't seem to understand the gravity of the situation when you have a totalitarian government who is moving a cyber warfare, and there are people who are just pawns in their hands. This government has spent billions of dollars putting in bots, putting in trolls, paying the media to be their mouthpieces. Today they are cashing out their checks. As Tibetans, all of you here, I would like to make a request. A simple request. Please indulge with me. I want you all to close your eyes for a second. Everybody, please. Please close your eyes for a second. Kamachik. Now visualize with me. What is the first image of His Holiness the Dalai Lama that comes to your mind? Please close your eyes and think about it. Take a moment to meditate. With a smile, with love, with compassion. Today, there are people in this world who are attacking that you are seeing in your eyes, in your mind. That is being attacked. And this is not a simple attack. This is deep. It goes very deep. That's why we need this uprising. That's why we need Tibetans across the world to speak out in a peaceful manner about our history and our truth. I actually, we've talked about this, but it's important to mention that His Holiness the Dalai Lama's photo, he's praying to him, even mentioning his name, or even to a degree sending donation to His Holiness for prayers, was banned in Tibet. That would put a Tibetan to almost 10 years in prison. Recently, a week ago, for the first time in the history of this country, His Holiness the Dalai Lama was trending on their social media. For the first time in 64 years, the pictures of His Holiness were trending in China and in occupied Tibet. These were photos of the manipulated and edited photos. And a lot of us, we believe that we got messages from people inside Tibet who for the first time in 64 years were able to grace His Holiness's photo without retaliation. For the first time, they are happy. They are filled with joy. This government was sending out photos so that Tibetans would stop supporting His Holiness, but they do not know that we will never do that. No Tibetan worth its salt in this planet would ever condone His Holiness. What they did has been backfiring. It has been backfiring because, in a way, I want to say thank you for sending out the photos. Thank you for letting our 6 million sisters, brothers, and our siblings in Tibet to finally see the picture of His Holiness. Thank you for your stupidity. Thank you for always pushing on things that don't matter. Yet, at the same time, this planet is filled with people who live in the moment, who live for 2 minutes or 5 minutes. And for them, as Tibetans, what we need to do is forgive them. Forgive them, but never forget. Never forget who they are. Never forget the friends we have. Never forget who's coming to stand with you. Never forget which faces you do not see from all those people who have been benefiting from His Holiness for all these years. Shame on them. Shame on standing, not being here, for standing in the back and giving their weak support. That's why today I'm not coming here to thank any one of you, but I want to encourage everyone that this is a start. This is not the end, this is a start. We started our uprising from the streets of Lhasa, and we haven't stopped. And we will continue. We will continue because we have a commitment. We cannot fail His Holiness anymore. We have a commitment to bring him back to the Potala Palace. We have a commitment to reunite him with the Tibetans in Tibet. We have a commitment that the world will start understanding and justifying our truth. That's why when I say this is not a protest, you said this is an uprising. This is not a protest.
This is not a protest.
This is not a protest.
This is a protest.
This is not a protest.
This is a protest.
Kwekelo!
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 Long live!
Dalai Lama!
Long live!
Dalai Lama!
Long live!
Dalai Lama!
Kame mutone naruna kuchi. Let them hear. Let them hear. Let them hear. Let Beijing know. Let those Xi Jinping know that we are here today. Let it be loud. Let it be clear that we will not back down. And let this entire world know that this uprising will not stop. Finally, to the media. It is very difficult to understand how they function. They have their ratings. It's important, they need their sponsors. But what about their journalism ethics? What about their conscience? What about truth? That's why I believe a call for action that every Tibetan who's here writes to editors, writes to newspapers and televisions about our truth. Share your story. Share what His Holiness means to you. Share what it means to call out His Holiness. And we will keep doing that